Let's start with our webinar today, AI in HR, building the right foundation for the future of the work. Thank you for joining. Today we will talk about AI in HR, but of course not from the usual hype perspective. We will discuss what AI needs in order to work properly in real HR environments. Because as you know, maybe most of you are HR professionals, AI is about people, decisions, trust context, and business impact. So if the foundation is weak, AI creates confusion. But if the foundation is strong, AI can help HR become faster and more accurate. So I want to highlight our local partnership at first. Before starting in Mauritius, Cloudifix is working in collaboration with Blue Fox SAS, our partner in Mauritius, in order to support organizations that want to approach digital transformation and AI in a more human-centric and practical way. So briefly introducing Cloudifix here. Before we go deeper, Cloudifix is trusted by organizations across different industries, as you see in my slide. It's a platform designed to connect customer, employee, and business workflows in one environment. So for HR, that matters a lot because HR doesn't work in isolation. It touches IT, finance, managers, operations, documents, approvals, employee records, and like lots of things. So when we talk AI in HR, we are talking a connected business platform where HR has the context it needs to make better decisions and run better process. So let's start with our main topic, the AI hype. So let's look at the bigger AI conversation happening in the market right now, like in the global markets, and why there is so much hype around AI. We hear statements like software will no longer be needed or every problem will be solved just by writing a prompt. These statements sound exciting, but they are also dangerous if we take them too literally. AI is powerful, but it's not a magic. A prompt alone cannot fix a broken data. It cannot understand your company only if your systems are disconnected. It cannot make reliable HR decisions if your context is missing. So the first thing we need to do is to separate AI hype from AI reality. So of course, AI didn't suddenly fall from the sky. It has been for us like for a very long time, since 1950s actually. We had deep learning before. We had even had Rosie from the Jetsons. If you remember, Rosie was doing the housework. They had video calls. They could communicate through screens. If you watch the cartoon, they had smartwatches. So when we were kids, we all watched those cartoons. So AI is not new. AI has simply changed its form. So what is new today is not AI itself, but the technology it has. So this is the LLM technology. So we need to understand what LLM technology is before moving to AI and before we expect too much from AI. So an LLM allows us to communicate with machines in a human-like way. That's why we feel like AI is so smart, because it's talking to us like a human. It's fundamentally a language technology. It can understand questions, generate answers, summarize information, and create very, very natural conversations. But this language technology works probabilistically. It predicts the most likely answer based on the data and the context it has. It doesn't naturally guarantee completeness, accuracy, or business certainty. This is why an LLM 2 plus 2 may not always behave like a strict business line rule. In the right prompt context, it may explain different possibilities for 2 plus 2 instead of simply giving one fixed answer. But HR cannot work like that. In our business, we cannot work like that. HR cannot accept probably correct, or HR cannot say this candidate is probably eligible, etc. So I want to give an example. For example, people decisions require accuracy, context, and trust. Imagine an HR manager asks AI which employee has not completed their mandatory training. And AI answers, these 6 employees have not completed it. But in reality, there are 28 employees missing the training. Even if AI gives a useful answer, it may not give the complete answer. And in HR, the incomplete information can create compliance risks, which is very, very dangerous, or unfair decisions. Or imagine asking AI, who are the best candidates for this role? If the AI only looks at the CV keywords, but it doesn't understand the interview feedback, department needs, the salary expectations, location, language requirements, previous applications, or manager preferences, the answer may sound still smart, but it can be wrong. So this is why HR cannot rely on LLM technology only. For HR AI to work, the LLM must be connected to the real employee data, verified records, policies, workflows, permissions, and the HR business context. So LLM is the communication layer, but the foundation must be deterministic. And HR needs an AI that can speak naturally but act reliably. That's very important. I want to show you an example, a real ChatGPT example, for example. This example is useful because it shows how an AI system responds when we ask a broad question. So yesterday I asked my AI, tell me everything I need to know about Mauritius. The answer is, of course, very useful, but it's still very selective. So AI usually gives us the most likely, the most relevant, the most common information based on the question. This is fine for general learning, but in business, this is not acceptable, especially in HR. We often need completeness, accuracy, and context. For example, again, for HR, if we ask about an employee, a policy, a payroll rule, or a compliance requirement, probably correct, of course, will not be enough. So today, that's why we are seeing AI everywhere, but we don't see its impact. So companies are investing in AI, but only one person can be successful. So this is a report from McKinsey and Company. The report name is Super Agency in the Workplace from 2025. And according to this research, 92% of the companies are investing in AI, but 99 of the companies of the project are being unsuccessful. That's very, very low. So do you know why? Why AI fails? Okay. So after seeing those numbers, the real question is not whether companies are investing in AI. Of course, they are investing. But the real question is why the impact is still very low and so limited. One reason is that many organizations are treating all AI as if it were the same. But there is a big difference between consumer AI and business AI. So in this point, we need to understand the business AI. Consumer AI is useful. We all use it, like ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini. It can answer our questions, summarize the text, generate content for us, and help us to work faster. But it usually works outside the real business environment. It doesn't fully understand our company's data process roles and purpose. Of course, it cannot because it relies on the public data, not in our business data. So this is where actually it becomes the complex. In HR, AI cannot simply give generic answers. It needs to understand who the employee is, which department they belong to, who their manager is, etc. So that's why we have to work with the business AI in our operations, in our professions. So business AI is not about generating answers. It's about working inside the organization's actual process with the right data, with the right permissions, and with the right context. So when we say AI fails in HR, it's usually not because the AI technology is weak. It fails because the foundation around it is weak. So the data is fragmented, the workflows may be disconnected, the context may be missing, and when AI doesn't understand the business reality, it cannot create the real business impact. So that's why AI fails in business and in HR. But why it fails specifically in HR? So we should look to the reality of the HR leaders. So this is the reality for many HR leaders. The challenge is not only more work. The real challenge is fragmented work without enough context. HR teams deal with too many tools, too many data, too many tasks, too little time for people. At the same time, they are expected to make reliable decisions, improve employee experience, support managers, reduce operational workload, and become more strategic. This is why AI is attractive. But AI cannot solve fragmentation unless the foundation is also solved. So it cannot be beneficial for HR leaders. So if HR is fragmented at the base, AI will simply expose that fragmentation faster. So I'm sure you all know some of those products, tools, or maybe you know all of them. And I'm sure that you are in your organizations, you are using some tools to operate your daily operations. In many organizations, actually, every organization have tools today. They have SaaS tools. HR data exists. Everyone has data, but employee story is broken. Recruitment, onboarding, engagement, learning, leave expenses, travel, and performance. So HR has like many processes, and it's like a journey for an employee. So each tool may work well. Your tool for expense management may work great. Your tool for travel management may work perfect. They may work well on their own, but the problem is that no single system has the full context. So this is what AI needs. For example, to understand one employee, HR may need to check the HRS, ATS, payroll system, learning platform, document system, ticketing tools, and manager communications. So this makes it very difficult for AI to provide reliable answers and automate meaningful connections and actions. So the issue is not the lack of the data actually, and not lack of the technology or not lack of the tool. The issue is the lack of unified context. So, so under these conditions, can we really rely on, really allow AI agents to do everything? However, at the same time, we know that we need to use AI agents somehow. So AI is not the starting point. So we are talking about AI agents. So it's very popular right now to use some AI agents for some operations. But before we should talk about foundations in order not to be disappointed about AI agents. AI is not the starting point. The data foundation is the starting point. First, we need to unify our employee data. Data silos are not acceptable anymore in the age of AI. Those data sources need to talk to each other. We need to create a context because AI must understand the relationships between the data. For example, in HR, I may have employee data, candidate data, onboarding records, performance reviews, training history, leave requests, payroll information documents, and HR tickets. Like HR has like many data for employees. AI should not look at these as separate pieces of information because they are a whole. It should be able to understand how they are connected, how they are interacting. It should understand that a candidate becomes an employee and that employee belongs to a department, reports to a manager, has specific role-based permissions, and follow a certain company policies, completes onboarding tasks, attends trainings, or receives performance feedbacks, and may raise HR requests over time. So that relationship between people, data, policies, roles, and history is what we call context. Then it comes to workflows. AI should understand where this context belongs within the HR workflows, such as recruitment, onboarding, or leave approvals, or performance management, or offboarding. Only then AI can operate meaningfully inside the HR process. And this is where the real value is created. So we are not only making easier our lives or making easier our operations with AI, but we are focusing on to create value with AI. This is very important. Because when AI understands both context and the workflow, I can trust what my AI assistant or what my AI agent is recommending and deciding. So in HR, AI becomes valuable not when it simply answers my questions, but when my AI assistant understands the employee journey and the organizational context and the process behind every action, then it's being valuable for me. It's important for myself, for HR leaders, because when you work with AI, you work faster, maybe you work more reliable, and then you create success for yourself as well. So what we need to do is solving the fragmentation problem. This is our real problem. To make AI work in HR, we first need to connect the environment around HR, not just integrating tools technically, but creating a real unified operational context. This is where platformization becomes very important. So platformization solves the fragmentation. So platformization means bringing fragmented HR and business tools into one connected operating layer. On the left, in my slide, you see we have many separate tools like ATS, HRS, ERP, documents, forms, emails, employee portals, policies, data, tasks, mails, files, etc. On the right, the result is an AI-ready HR execution environment. One HR data hub, one HR context, and one foundation for every AI action. So this is where AI becomes practical. It can understand the employee, follow the process, respect permissions, and recommend the next best action. So HR needs such platform in order to get ready for the future of work. That's why we created CloudFix. That's why CloudFix exists, and you will see how it operates in our demo. And I want to approach to HR technology market in Mauritius. So we have some players, and maybe you know most of you use Sycorax for your payrolls, Dayforce or Odoo. And what CloudFix is different, how CloudFix differs from them. So Dayforce actually is a strong global HCM and people platform. It fits organizations that want enterprise HR standardization. Sycorax is strong for local HR and payroll execution. It fits companies where local payroll and compliance are the main priority. Odoo, as you know, offers modular ERP. It fits companies looking for flexible and application-based business management. But CloudFix takes a different approach. It's an AI-native unified business platform. It connects HR with sales, service, documents, communication, and operations. The goal is not only to manage HR, but to create a value for AI and to connect HR to the full business context. So our question is not which system has HR features. The real question is, which architecture makes HR ready for AI? So it's definitely CloudFix here. And what you should ask to yourself for your success in AI projects, that not if we have an AI. The real question is, did you really build an environment where AI can actually work? This is a powerful shift mindset. Because AI success is not only about choosing a model or adding a chatbot into your process. It's about preparing your business HR environment where AI can produce reliable outcomes. So thank you for listening to my presentation. And now I want to give the microphone to Selay in order her to show you the demonstration of CloudFix. I hope you enjoy. Thanks for listening, and see you in questions and answers session.
Hi, everyone, again. Thanks for the very nice and insightful presentation by Sinem, and thank you for joining us today. So before I jump into today's scenario, I would like to spend a couple of minutes talking about like the bigger picture to set, again, the foundation of the demo. So as CloudFix, we believe businesses shouldn't have to manage their operations across dozens of different applications. So at CloudFix, everything we do is built around the 4 key pillars: run, connect, automate, and build. So run your operations with our built-in applications, connect all your teams, data, and processes in one place, automate repetitive work with AI and workflows, and of course, build exactly what your business needs. So this will be just a demo today, but in reality, everything you're about to see can be fully adapted to your specific business processes. So this way, instead of changing your process to fit the system, CloudFix fits your process. So now let me share my screen with you. Okay. So whether you're managing your sales pipeline, running marketing campaigns, delivering projects, handling customer support, or managing human resources, everything works together on a single platform. Because as Sina mentioned, business processes don't happen in isolation. Sales creates opportunities, projects delivers them, finance tracks them, and HR hires, and develops the people behind them. So when every department works on the same platform, information flows naturally, teams collaborate more efficiently, and of course, AI has a complete picture of your business. So the same philosophy applies to human resources. The CloudFix is much more than a recruitment system. So it enables HR teams to manage the entire employee lifecycle, from recruitment to onboarding to performance management to leave management, assets, employee self-service, surveys, and even offboarding. So there are, of course, other HR capabilities within CloudFX that unfortunately won't have the time to cover today, since, as I mentioned, CloudFX offers a very rich and comprehensive HR ecosystem. For example, payroll. If your organization already uses a third-party payroll solution, we can integrate with your existing system, allowing employee data and payroll-related information to flow seamlessly between platforms. And of course, the same flexibility applies across many other HR processes. So our goal isn't to force organizations to change the way they work overnight. It's to provide a connected, all-in-one platform that can either integrate with your existing ecosystem or become the central platform for managing your entire employee lifecycle. So coming back to today's scenario, today we're going to focus on one specific story. So I will manage the entire recruitment and onboarding process exactly as I would in a real company, while letting AI assist me wherever it actually creates value. So rather than showing you isolated features, I would like to show you what a real working day looks like for an HR team using CloudFix as their all-in-one platform. So let's get started and see the magic. So I'm the HR manager of a fast-growing international company. My sales team is expanding to new markets, and instead of receiving a phone call or an email, an employee request has just been submitted through CloudFix. So as HR professionals, we all have been there. Finding the candidate isn't difficult anymore. Finding the right candidate is. So the request has already gone through the necessary approval processes and is now waiting for us to begin the recruitment. And here I can see all the key information regarding the needed position. So I have my job description, the responsibilities, required experience, maybe language requirements, the competency. So I have created my job position. So instead of publishing the position manually on different platforms, I simply publish it once. So the vacancy becomes available on our company website and also LinkedIn. Now the process starts working for me. So applications arriving automatically. And this is where HR usually lose the most time, not interviewing people, but at the beginning reviewing CVs. So over the next few days, dozens, sometimes of hundreds of applications arrive. Normally, HR teams spend hours opening PDFs, comparing the experiences, checking languages, looking at industries, and trying to prioritize candidates. Instead, I will let AI perform the first evaluation. So the AI reviews every CV according to the hiring criteria we have defined. So not randomly, based on the rules that are defined by me, by my organization, by my team. So each candidate receives a score and also AI-generated remarks. And now here's an important point. AI is not actually making the hiring decision. It is helping me prioritize my work. So to my scenario, I decide that candidates scoring above our threshold automatically continue to the language interview powered by AI, and candidates below a certain threshold are not immediately rejected. Instead, we will invite them to complete an AI sales interview. And why? Because we all know that sometimes a CV doesn't tell the whole story. Someone with less experience may demonstrate exceptional communication skills, confidence, or sales thinking. So rather than losing hidden talent, those hidden gems, we give them another opportunity. So this is how I designed my recruitment process for this position. So it could be different for every position that I have created in my company. So this is just one of them. And now the hiring process continues. As candidates move through each recruitment stage, I don't need to remember what happens next. So the process remembers for me. So when a candidate reaches the assessment stage, the assessment that we have designed in CloudOfX survey app is automatically sent to him. When the candidate progresses to the first interview stage, an invitation is automatically sent based on the scheduled rules I have defined. So instead of manually coordinating availability, the candidate receives a scheduling link where they can choose a suitable time from the available slots. And of course, this makes the scheduling process very simple and efficient for both HR and the candidate without having that back and forth emailing. So everyone receives the correct communication at the correct time. So it really removes the repetitive, the administrative work, so HR can really focus on people. So now comes my favorite part. At this stage, as you can see, we have several candidates have successfully completed the interviews. So they're now in the final evaluation, just before the offer is made. As an HR manager, I could open every profile one by one, compare the notes, review the interview feedback, maybe look at assessment results, and try to remember who performed best. Or, since I have CloudOfX, I can ask my recruitment AI assistant. So let's open our AI assistant and let's ask our question. So I have several candidates in the final stage for the international sales manager position. So I want my AI to compare the strengths and weaknesses and then recommend the strongest candidate. And I also want to explain why. Within seconds, the AI reviews the candidates. So let's also see it in full screen for you. So it creates a comparison for me. Rather than saying candidate A scored 89, it explains the business reasoning. The assistant recommends the strongest candidate, comparing the information that we have in the database about the candidate. And it clearly explains why. So this is extremely valuable. Because AI isn't actually replacing the hiring manager, it is preparing a well-informed recommendation that helps us make better decisions faster. Ultimately, of course, the final decision belongs to us. So I have my recommended candidate here. So let's have a look and see her AI interview results. So Kiara completed an AI-powered language interview by answering a series of questions, spoken questions. So the AI analyzed the candidate's language proficiency, the environment, the attire, fluency, grammar, and overall communication effectiveness. So I immediately received a structured summary about this interview of Kiara. If it was a sales interview, the summary structure might be different. I might instruct my AI to look at different aspects. So this allows HR to spend time making decisions instead of collecting the information. So after discussing with hiring manager, we decide to proceed with the selected candidate. So it will be Kiara. So instead of creating employee records manually across different systems, I simply convert a successful candidate to an employee. So now the recruitment journey becomes the employee journey, a whole new world for us. Now that Kiara has joined the company officially, let's open her employee card. So this becomes a single place where I can manage her entire employee journey. From here, I can handle asset assignments and track them, the leave requests, advances, performance appraisals, documents, trainings, and much more. So the biggest advantage is that everything is connected. Instead of searching through different systems or asking departments, colleagues for information, as an HR person, I have a complete view of the employee in one place at my fingertips. Of course, joining to a company is exciting, but for HR, ensuring every onboarding task is completed on time can quickly become difficult and overwhelming, especially as the company grows. Now we have hired just one person, but it could be 20 people, 100 people. So instead of manually tracking those onboardings, those training courses, required documents, assigned tasks, and onboarding activities for every new hire, I will use my autonomous agent to monitor the entire process for me. So let's open the AI onboarding review for Kiara and see how she's doing, whether she's on track. So rather than reviewing dozens of individual tasks and course completions, thanks to my autonomous agent, I have a concise summary of the Kiara's onboarding journey. So it's another example of actually how AI doesn't really replace HR. It simply gives us better visibility and helps ensure every new employee has a consistent onboarding experience. And we have done our recruitment process. We have signed a contract with Kiara, but recruitment doesn't end with signing the contract, and employee management doesn't end with onboarding. Great companies continue listening to their people throughout the entire employee lifecycle. And as an HR manager, I would like to understand how our employees are feeling about their experience in the company. And to do that, we regularly send employee experience surveys. So whether I'm collecting feedback from 10 employees or 10,000, the process remains exactly the same. And here, the real challenge isn't actually gathering the feedback. It is making sense of it. So instead of reading every individual response, I can simply ask AI to analyze the results of this survey. So let's see our survey analysis and let's see how satisfied are employees in our company. So I received an executive summary highlighting the overall employee sentiment, the most common positive themes, what motivates them, what areas we need to improve as a company, what could be the next steps to improve, and an overall assessment. So the same approach can be applied across many other HR processes. So whether it's performance appraisals, leave management, whether you would like to see why people are taking leaves or what are the common needs for them taking leaves, or onboarding or any other HR workflow that you can imagine. So AI transforms these large volumes of operational data into meaningful insights that help HR make faster, better informed decisions. It could also be the exit interviews. AI can analyze them. AI can give you the reasons why people are leaving your company. What are the reasons that they're not satisfied and stay with you? So it could be applied across many other HR processes. So it was just an example in our scenario. And so far, what we have seen now is how AI helps HR teams to make better decisions, automate repetitive work, and gain valuable insights through the entire employee lifecycle. So we have been looking at everything from the HR team's point of view. But creating a great employee experience isn't only about giving HR better tools. It is also about giving employees the ability to manage of their day-to-day interaction themselves. Now that our employee has completed onboarding, let's log in as Kiara to the employee portal. So let's experience the same journey from Kiara's perspective as an employee. So I logged in as Kiara to my employee portal. So one of the key goals of modern HR is empowering employees to handle routine tasks independently without having to contact HR for every single request. And through this employee portal, employees can securely access their personal information, upload and manage documents, they can submit requests, and complete their assigned trainings, all from a single place. And as Kiara, I need to upload some documents. So I can see my employee profile, I can update my information, and now let's add some documents. So I will be adding my bank statement. And I will be also adding my driver's license. And now we can save it. So HR is automatically notified and the document is immediately added to my employee record. So if that document requires approval, the appropriate workflow is triggered automatically, ensuring the right people review it before it's finalized. So of course, the result is a much more smoother experience for employees while significantly reducing the administrative work for HR. Okay, we have now seen the experience from both sides, HR and the employee. The final puzzle is understanding how leaders and decision makers can monitor the bigger picture. So let's look at everything from a management perspective. So throughout today's journey, we have seen how AI supports HR at every stage of the employee life cycle. But making informed decisions also requires clear visibility into what's happening across the organization. So in addition to AI for reporting, for insights, CloudFX provides real-time dashboards and reporting tools. So even the Kanban view itself acts as a pre-reporting tool for you, or pivot tables like reporting tools. And as I mentioned, the real-time dashboards, which you can design by yourself. And these dashboards are interactive, so they don't just display information for me. They also let me click and drill down into the actual records behind the data. So this way, I can access the information that matters most to me from a single screen and manage your business through data. Because every HR activity happens within the same platform, your reports are always built on live, connected data, giving HR leaders the insights they need to make faster, more confident decisions. So today, what did we actually see? We didn't just automate recruitment. We followed an employee's entire journey, from an employee request to recruitment, AI-powered candidate evaluation, interviews, automation, hiring, onboarding, learning, the employee experience, the self-service, and finally, real-time reporting. But if there's one thing I would like you to remember from today's session, it's this: none of these capabilities exist in isolation. They all work together because they're built on a single platform. There are no disconnected applications, no duplicate data, no manual handoffs between departments. Just one connected system where HR, managers, employees, and of course, AI work together. And that's where AI becomes truly valuable. It isn't powerful because it can summarize a CV or analyze a survey. It is powerful because it understands the entire employee journey from the moment a hiring request is created to the day that employee grows within your organization. So AI is not sitting outside the system. It operates inside the business process itself. So it doesn't replace HR professionals. It removes repetitive work, surfaces meaningful insights, and gives HR teams more time to focus on what really matters: hiring the right people, developing great talent, building an exceptional employee experience, and operational excellence. Because at the end of the day, great companies aren't like built by software, they are built by people. And CloudFX simply gives those people one intelligent platform to do their best work. So that is all for me today. Thank you very much for listening.